What's good? What's good? It's the one, the only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Keith Thurman in the building one time, man. He is basically talked about his frustrations with Floyd Mayweather and how he basically wanted to punch Floyd in the face. He wants to fight Floyd. He wanted to fight Floyd. And he basically felt like Floyd Mayweather avoided him during the tail end of his career when Keith Thurman was up and coming. Now, definitely, I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. I'm not gonna lie, but we wouldn't be doing ourselves justice by saying that, by just automatically dismissing what Keith Thurman is saying, because rightfully so, Keith Thurman does have points in this, and personally, even if you don't want to use the word duck, I still do feel like Floyd did avoid a fight with Keith Thurman at one point, bro. Like, he didn't really want to fight Keith Thurman for whatever reason. But let's hear what Keith Thurman has to say, and then, I'll give my opinion on it, man. Now, I wanted to take it back to this article. This was like in 2014, but it says Floyd Mayweather knows who he fights this week, but the list of potential opponents for a second fight in 2014 got shorter Thursday when Amir Khan said he wouldn't fight in September on religious principles because Ramadan. Keith Thurman said he'll fill the breach. If Mayweather beats Marcos Maidana in their welterweight class unification Saturday, he would add to the World Boxing Association title. He would add the World Boxing Association, the WBA, and the WBC, one he already has. Mayweather also has WBA and WBC titles at 154. A victory also means Mayweather would inherit Thurman as his WBA mandatory challenger at 147 pounds. Thurman has been WBA's #1 ranked welterweight contender since August 3rd, 2013. So by the time Mayweather-Maidana winner could fight again, that winner would be obligated to fight Thurman unless exempted by the sanctioning bodies. Of course, with 4 titles and 2 sanctioning bodies to satisfy, the likelihood is small that Mayweather can meet his annual mandate to defend against his #1 ranked contenders. Floyd called the shots, Thurman said. Floyd picked this fight here. The one way I see Floyd fighting me is via the mandatory. Thurman, who at the time was 23-0 with 21 knockouts, was coming off of a third-round demolition of Julio Diaz last Saturday. All right, so that's kind of irrelevant. He says he has held the interim WBA title since July 2013. Mayweather said this week that interim belts should be abolished as a part of any effort to clean up boxing, and is due his title shot by rule. I'm a young up-and-coming rising star, Thurman said Thursday. I have yet to fight any world champion. A lot of them claim they have many reasons not to fight me, and it would be nice to give Floyd a reason to fight me. So we'll see what happens. So why would Floyd consider fighting a 25-year-old native of Clearwater, Florida? One, both are advised by Al Haymon, whose long-standing tendency is to keep his fighters from facing each other has been broken recently, including Mayweather and Maidana. Two, while they both have fought extensively under Golden Boy Promotions banner, neither is contractually bound to the company, with Golden Boy going through a potential shakeup with the possibility of CEO Richard Schaefer departure after this fight, possibly align himself with the Al Haymon, himself cooperatively with Al Haymon and or Mayweather. That could make a smooth negotiation for Mayweather's next fight, if Mayweather's next fight is exclusively self-promoted or promoted by both Mayweather Promotions and other companies. 3, the 37-year-old legend Mayweather is to take on a 25-year-old lion like the heavyweight Thurman, who has been professional since 2007. The sooner, the better. So that was this was back in like 2013. So let me talk a little bit on it, a little bit more real quick, man. Well, actually, and before I give my opinion, and before I break it down, let me show you what Keith Thurman had to say, and then I'll talk about it. All right.
Really need to be there, and they don't help the sport evolve. what that did at that time was it let Floyd finish out his career the way Floyd Mayweather wanted to finish out his career, with no pressure, with the up-and-coming talent that was present. And it's not just because that up-and-coming talent was me. Let it be anybody. And let's state a few other facts. We're talking about the same man that fought Robert the Ghost Guerrero because he was a mandatory. We're talking about the same man that fought Victor Ortiz because he was a mandatory. Look, man, but you're not going to talk about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's too green. Keith Thurman's this and that, whatever. You know, it's not true. We know what Keith Thurman would have done to Victor Ortiz. We saw what I did to Robert the Ghost Guerrero. It just is what it is. That's when I learned firsthand politics in boxing. Politics in boxing.
Now, the first thing I do want to say is, well, while Keith was right about Robert Guerrero, he was wrong about Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz was not Floyd Mayweather's mandatory. As a matter of fact, if you guys remember, Victor Ortiz actually got the WBC belt by beating Andre Berto, which he was the underdog in that fight. He got the WBC by beating Andre Berto. Floyd Mayweather came off of another long inactivity because you guys remember he fought Victor Ortiz September of 2011. Before that, he fought Shane Mosley May of 2010. So he's coming off of a year-plus layoff to fight Victor Ortiz for his WBC belt. All right. So, but does Keith Thurman make a point? Yes, I do remember. I do also recall like when nobody wanted to see Floyd Mayweather versus Andre Berto. All right, we can all agree with that, right? We wanted to see Floyd Mayweather versus Keith Thurman. And while be it Floyd, when Keith Thurman was pressing for Floyd, he was calling him out because he was the WBA interim world champion, well, interim champion or whatnot. Floyd Mayweather, then that's when Floyd was saying, you know, he feels like Keith Thurman should fight Errol Spence. That's when Errol Spence was up and coming, and Errol Spence was calling out calling out Keith Thurman. And at that particular time, I don't feel like Keith Thurman was avoiding Errol Spence because Errol Spence had only been pro for 2 years at that particular time. Well, actually 3 years. He was only pro for 3 years at that particular time. He didn't have, you know, it would have been going backwards for Keith Thurman to fight an Errol Spence when he has a shot at Floyd Mayweather right there. And with Floyd saying that Keith was green, that wasn't true, you know. Keith was never awarded an opportunity or whatnot. Now, I used to be one back then to say, nah, Floyd's not ducking Keith and Keith ain't did nothing. But, you know, I have to be honest with myself. Now, again, I'm not going to say, if you don't want to say Floyd ducked him, that's cool. But at some point, you do have to admit that Floyd did not want to fight with Keith Thurman, bro. I don't know if the fight made business sense, but I do know that we can all agree that everybody was pressing for Keith Thurman to fight Floyd at that particular time more than we were pressing for an Andre Berto to fight Floyd. But nevertheless, you know, Keith Thurman then damaged his own self in his own career. Keith Thurman did make things easier when he kind of took he took the foot off the pedal of his own career, just, you know, with inactivities and layoffs and injuries and all this type of stuff. And you know, then was, you know, he not only was he calling out Floyd, he was calling out Pacquiao, but finally got an opportunity to fight Pacquiao, and you know, we saw what happened. Pacquiao ended up beating Keith Thurman. So Keith Thurman kind of damaged his, well, ain't no kind of, Keith Thurman is the demise of his own career. But I do understand at one particular time when Keith Thurman was looking dangerous, it just didn't seem like anybody, not just Floyd, it didn't seem like anybody wanted to get in there with him. And finally, he got a crack that next year, he got a crack at Robert Guerrero and beat him decisively. And then, you know, went on to get Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, you know. So, you know, he has a good resume, but it's just that Keith Thurman, you know, he kind of, it was the bigger Errol Spence got, the less we heard from Keith Thurman, you know. And again, I understand him not wanting to fight Errol at the time that Floyd was saying that he should fight Errol, because, bro, Errol really brought nothing to the table, just at all, and that would have been moving backwards. But at that particular, but you know, later on down the line when Errol had the belt, Keith should have been unified with Errol, but, you know, Keith didn't want to. So, again, man, you know, Keith's just, it is what it is, man. You know, let me know what you guys think about Keith Thurman. Do you feel like Floyd ducked Keith Thurman? Like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?